Hello, friends. This is Chandrakant from Akulmek Technologies. And this Friday, I would like to welcome all viewers on the edition of CEO Roundtable. And we have very distinguished panel today. I will introduce our first panelist, Mr. Satya Madala. He is a CEO of a very emerging and pioneering company, which is known as Single Point Solution. Welcome to CEO Roundtable, Satya.
Thank you very much, CK. So thank you very much for introducing me to this panel.
Most welcome. Now, our second panelist is Mr. Neval Gund. He is the chairman of Mindfit Limited from UK, and he has a vast experience of working with global organizations. And now he is helping young population of the world, works with many companies across the world, and he also works with us. Welcome to CEO Roundtable, Neval.
Good morning, CK. Good morning, everybody. Looking forward to an interesting discussion. I'm sure it'll get heated because it's about the future of the world, not just individual countries.
Certainly, Neval. Our next guest is Ms. Farida Charania. She is joining us from Singapore, and she is the CEO of HR organization known as Career Zoom. So welcome to the panel, Farida.
Thank you, CK. Lovely to meet all of you again, and hello to all our viewers.
And our last panelist is Ms. Kanchan Verma. She is the CEO of Akulmek Technologies and she's from India. Welcome, Kanchan.
Hello, thank you, CK, and good morning, good afternoon to everybody. How are you doing?
Great. So now, after the brief introduction, let me start the discussion. So today's discussion is about the skills gap. And let me explain what is skill gap. See, we are all talking about India in particular, and we can discuss the global influence on India or versa. The industry was moving very fast, and there was always a gap in the skills which are being churned out from the industry or from the universities. So that gap was existing in our industry across all multiple segments of business. After the pandemic, the skills gap has even broadened. So we thought that today is a very special day when Prime Minister of India came on TV and he announced the new education policy changing from the year-old 10 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, whatever it was, to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5. So this is rolled out in India, and it will have unprecedented, I would like to use this word, what Neval used, changes in the next generation, which is going to come out from India. In terms of the skills, because the skills will be imparted early on. So the point of discussion today is the skills gap that exists in India, and I would like to invite Satya and ask this question because he is day in day out grappling with this situation because he is a CEO of multiple companies, and across all tech work that his companies does, he faced this issue. So Satya, what is your opinion on this discussion point that we are talking about?
Yeah, CK, like when we are entering into this topic, I wanted to address it.
So Kanchan, I think we have lost line with Satya. Would you like to take this question?
Yes, I feel the skill gap is real, and there are so many problems employer are facing due to skill gap, and this leads to unemployment. And with this pandemic, it's on. So the new digitization is done, and due to this digitization, also many people, many professionals are not comfortable because they are not one to one. They are not talking one to one. They're not able to do that, and that's why they feel that they are not having a real time interaction with the people. Now when we talk about skill gap, there are people are professional, they really have the knowledge, but then there are few things which are missing out. Like, for example, if we take a technology person was not able to put forward his ideas and how he want to convince people when it comes to taking up the business. So this is a very real thing, and it's very painful also, because people have the ability, but there's something which is missing, and they are not able to put forward and take up the decision and do a productive contribution.
Okay, so Farida, I think you have also worked in India, and then although you have moved out of India for many years, but you have a lot of connections with the industry here, and also in Singapore and also in UK. And I'm sure this is a common subject across all countries. There is always a skills gap. In India, obviously, there is a skill gap, but I'm sure there is skill gap everywhere. So, what is your opinion about whether this situation is real or it's just a myth?
I think there are no myths, because this is real, and we feel the pain, because we feel the pain when suddenly because some geographies are very good in certain skills, and some geographies are not that advanced in those skills. They still have developmental areas. And today, when the easy travel is being, kind of completely controlled, or it's almost shut down for so many months, we feel the pain. So I think, firstly, my humble opinion is that it's not a myth; it's a real problem. Secondly, if you speak about India in particular, there are a lot of skills in terms of execution skills. So there are a lot of ideas. There are skills to execute that, but I think the gap which I see, and this has been my experience speaking to my peers in the industry across border, that the most strategic middle layer, so it's not the top layer, but the most strategic middle layer is really missing. Because I think either there are people who are very probably would like to take a lead, and they can actually formulate an idea, have a vision, and then there are people who will probably do those things. But the key component where I see a gap is that skill to bring all of that together. The curator of results, basically somebody who will speak the lingo on both sides, is missing. So, and that's a real problem. That's a real gap that I see.
So let me ask this question from Naval, because Naval is the most experienced among the panelists today. He has a lot of experience working with multiple global organizations. So Naval, what do you think right from beginning when you started your career many years back till today or till yesterday? Did you feel any skill gap while working with your colleagues?
Well, it's a fascinating question, and both Farida and Kenshin mentioned the pain. This isn't a myth; it's a reality. There is pain in what organisations are doing. We feel it throughout the organisations. People, even if they've got a fantastic idea, they can't get that message over. They can't explain themselves to get other people enthused about it. I mean, it's quite clear. It's quite clear that they're enthused and excited, but other people aren't. And we've only got to look at, you asked me, go back all those years. Let's all go back all those years. Let's all go back to the classroom. When we were sort of 5, maybe 6 years old, and we're sitting in the classroom, and the teacher asked for a volunteer. Did you volunteer? I did. I was always volunteering for everything. No, there you go. You see, we've got one honest member of the panel this morning, and it starts then, because if you volunteer, you've got something different. It's nothing about this isn't about academics. The skills gap isn't about being academic. It's about having those soft skills and the other things that underpin those soft skills, like volunteering. What makes you volunteer? Well, I was excited. I wanted to learn things. So I would always be first. So my hand would always go up. You know, you end up being the teacher's pet if you're not careful. But that's up to the teacher to say, no, no, you've had your chance, Neville. You know, let someone else have a go. But the point is, you've only got to walk into a classroom today and walk into a. Doesn't matter what classroom you walk into, and I recommend anyone does this actually. Go into a classroom, ask permission, walk into a classroom, and be introduced and ask a question, and just see the spark in their eyes, because they'll all have a spark, but some will have a bigger spark than others, and they're the ones with the right attitude. They're the ones with the confidence, with that resilience. They, you know, they don't have a fear of failure, as we might call it these days. They don't even know what failure is, frankly, because they couldn't explain it, even if they saw it. But just look at it, and you'll find about 10% will volunteer. Now, that's not good enough, frankly. That is really not good enough for the future of organisations, for the future of the country. So although India has gone through this massive restructuring in the education arena, my guess is it's still academically focused. But the question for the panel is, we're talking about skills gap here. Is it an academic skills gap, or is it something else?
So I think Satya is back online. Satya, we lost you at a very important juncture where we were asking about what challenges you face because of the skill gaps across your multiple companies that you have. Would you like to take that question?
Looks like we're having a few problems. Maybe the monsoon has hit.
So I think we will ask this question from Satya once his voice is enabled. So we are trying to get this voice patched up. In the meanwhile, to answer your question, Neville, I saw the entire news today, and what the Indian government is trying to do is bridge a gap between academics and the extra skills that people are required to lead their life. So what was happening all these days is that there was a stigma which was created for last 70 years after we got independence, that if you're not doing this, then you're nothing, you're not good enough. And that stigma was created by everyone in the society, by the society itself. We can't blame anyone. It is how the society evolved. And now we have realized this. I think it's not today's realization. It was realized 30 to 40 years back. But the government of the day today had guts to change it. And I think we discussed some time back that because the students are not in school, there is nobody in colleges. So I think this is the right time to make the change. So that is why the government is making all the changes here. And the streams of the students based on their skill sets will be decided early on in their life, and they don't have to wait till they become adolescent or go to college to determine what they want to do in life. Like for all of us, it was like that. We study because we will get a job. But now in the new system, it will not be entirely academic. So I think that is what I'm gathering from reading and also watching the news.
Just I wanted to add one more point, CK here. The thing is, like the institutions, actually, the universities or colleges, just they need to take a rapid step to improve the skills. Actually, they are more concentrating on academics. I don't think they are concentrating more on improving the skills. So simply, actually, just even as you said, like the society, and they are looking at actually what is the rank the candidate is getting, and what the marks they are getting, and what is the percentage. So they're concentrating much on it, but they're not concentrating on communication skills and technology skills, and they are not, trying to improve practical skills. Wherein actually you see, if you take Hyderabad, so people actually there was so many institutions who is training on this IT skills, but they are not just they're training them and sending them out, but actually they are not looking at how the candidate is coming out with some sort of experience. So they are not looking at, so people actually, even society or parents or the institutions or government, everybody, they need to take a rapid step to improve the skills. So practical skills, actually it requires some infrastructure also, not only from these institutions, even from a government side also, they need to provide some sort of, if you take a China, actually I have some Chinese friends are there. So just they created infrastructure, and if the candidate wanted to go into some sort of sector, so they can go and train in the labs, and they can apply their mind and improve their skills. But when it comes to India, to improve their skills, so colleges or government or society, they required to provide some sort of infrastructure to improve their skills. So that's what I found in Indian market, wherein actually it is possible. It is possible, and wherein actually it won't take much. Like financials are, it won't take much time also, but they need to provide some sort of infrastructure towards to that that candidate, practical, what you call, like a practical things required to improve their skills from the candidate side. So my observation is, wherein actually when I call somebody, we are maintaining some domestic placements also, domestic resource placement. But when it comes to candidate, actually candidates are quite well, and so they are able to just pass their some sort of levels, but very less people, say almost 60%, 60 to 65%, they're failing at practicals. So if they can concentrate on that area, so you can close the gap. So the skill gap can be closed in that way.
So, Satya, let me ask you this question. You have raised a very important point that the source. So, there is always a demand and supply. So, in case of human resources, also there is a demand and supply.
Yes.
And obviously, supply is coming from the colleges and universities.
Yes.
And our experience is that they are not doing enough. So, I think
Yes.
the one of the point which has been highlighted today is that the universities have to change their curriculum. I think with the new education policy, I think that will fall in place. But today we do not have a solution. So let's discuss about today. Satya, your organization, yourself, you are well known globally. You are among the top 30 recognized technical person globally. Your
Yes.
companies are doing pioneering job. You
Yes.
have realized the opportunity at early stage, and you're trying to bring the change to the people for India as well as around the globe. So, what you need as a company to succeed, because obviously you need people, you need skills, you need infrastructure, you need government. So, what is that you need from the skills perspective to make your company successful?
See, here again, coming to this point, actually we required some sort of experienced guys in the market to come up with the new products. But the problem here is, everybody is concentrating on particular sector. Not that it is not enough from the candidate side. Candidates should be trained on known technologies and different technologies, and we require a multi-talented people. So the institutions are actually the colleges or universities. Just they're particularly concentrating on particular technology. Not that it is not enough at all. So nowadays actually in IT, if you take IT, um, actually the technologies are overlapping. So the plugins, whatever the companies, Microsoft or other companies, they are coming. Actually, they are coming up with the overlap plugins. So to manage that, the particular skill set is not enough. So people, actually candidates required to train on multi skills, multi technologies. So that's what we require for the companies, and particularly for a product-based company. So product-based company, what they do is when they architect the product, actually they bring a multi-technology into the product. So when we require actually a particular technology, so we cannot hire a multi-technology people. Actually, we can hire multi-technical people. So multi-talented people and the multi-technology people we require as a company. So we are feeling the gap in the market. At the same time, we are wasting our time by training them in the particular technology, and in a particular the plugin or whatever the technology they are coming up with. So we are training them. We are wasting our time. Even if I keep my 90 days time on the particular training, so we are losing our time. So it is costing us a lot, and at the same time, particularly it's a time. So it is impacting our deliveries, product deliveries. So I require a people who can work on a multi technology, wherein actually that is lacking in the market right now. So government or universities or private bodies who are training on this. So if they can concentrate on that area, so they can fill up the gap. That's what my view.
I think it's a fair demand from the education industry, since you're an entrepreneur. So I would like to now invite Kanchan to the discussion here, because Kanchan works with a lot of education institutes and universities. So Kanchan, you have heard other panelists saying that there is always a gap between the skills which are required and what business needs. So what would be your advice to the universities in India specifically, what they should do? Because you've heard Satya as well. He is looking for specific trained person, and he doesn't want to waste time in training him, basically hiring him, then training him, and then making him productive.
Before I come to the point which you are asking, I would like to add 2 points that every individual should be taught a kind of have growth outcome. He should be should able to see that I have to grow, and then he has the ability to take up the feedback also. And this kind of soft skills start only at a very early age in the schools. And what I feel is nowadays soft skills are not should be treated lightly. They have few of them have become a hard skill, and they should be taught properly in the academics. It should be, it's not like a recess period or like a game period, where the children chill out and they don't take things very seriously. So I feel that time has come that people should know the growth potential. They should understand how grow, and this kind of feeling, its kind of attitude should be inculcated when they are very young. Not, it should not start at the colleges only, it should start in the school only. So by the time they are out from their education, they know the adaptability skill, they know how to take up feedback positively. So all these things will add to this skill gap, and they can decrease it. And here the hard skill and soft skill, they should go hand in hand. And I can very well understand the pain of Mr. Satya, because he is running companies, and then he is not able to find out the exact skill set for the service or the product he want to have. So I feel that time has come. Universities and all schools should take up these things very, very seriously. Now, I have come across in one place in Hyderabad that one school is started in sixth standard animation. So animation they can start, but they can't. Why can't they start the courses like communication, listening, which is very essential part of developing a skill. If you are not able to listen, then you are not able to be productive later on. So I feel that time has come, and all depends on the universities to take up these studies. I genuinely feel that all soft skill, leaving couple of them, they should come into the hard skill parameter, not just soft skill. And it is not like a free period in a school and just chilling out time. No, it is a very serious uh, subject, and it's very it should be taken seriously, not in India but in other countries also. We require these kind of subjects and seriousness.
So, as per Kanchan, the soft skills are no longer called soft skills. These are all hard skills. But to address what Satya is talking about, his pain point, I think there has to be a forum where the new skill sets should be given like a list from the business, and universities should pick up those skills which are 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, and then churn out these trained people, so that people like Satya, and there are so many other companies across India, across the world, can leverage this new trained resource skill pool. So, Farida, we are discussing mostly in India, and you are a very your personality is very unique because you work with Indians and you work with Singaporeans, and you also work with people from England. So, what do you think we should do to resolve this issue? There are some certain solutions coming out from this panel, but from your point of view, what we should do?
Sure, I think this is an interesting discussion. Couple of things here. One, I am delighted with the changes in education system in India because it is now aligned to how the rest of the world and the most successful education systems like Finland, England, Singapore, these are the most successful, systems which are exactly in this manner. So I think it is one. This is the first step in getting Indians, ready towards globalization. Also, another thing is that the scaling is required to where the puck is going, not where the puck already is. So I feel that, well, I mean, there are a lot of solutions, but my opinion is that at this point in time, I would add to what Kanchan is saying that soft skills are no longer, something that can just be left. And if somebody is really smart and, like Neville said, volunteers in class to sing the national anthem, you just kind of go with them. There has to be a conscious effort to start developing these skills because yes, listening is very important. Again, that's a skill which people underestimate. But if you don't listen, you will not understand, and if you don't understand, you will not be productive. So there are a lot of with this education change, there will be some time of adjustment, and then eventually things will start falling into place. And I'm actually quite optimistic that it would fall in place. But for parents also, it's important that don't just kind of think that once you send them for an IT course, they'll find a job and that's it, because there is a serious gap between the people who have the vision and the people who execute them. There's a serious gap of somebody who can project manage all of this. And if we actually kind of address that question of soft skills, then this is something which will get aligned to quite an extent. And then ideas are cheap, execution is everything. So let's see how this goes forward and how this gets executed.
In fact, the Prime Minister Modi said exactly the same thing. He said, coming out with a plan on a paper is one thing, but executing it is another thing. So I think he's working with the ministers today. He's having a very big press conference along with all the ministers and asking them to implement, roll out this policy, because I think this is the right time to roll out the new, we call it NEP, National Education Policy. So with this, let me go back to Satya, because Satya is running a company. One of his companies called Single Point Solution. which is all about the EV vehicles. EV stands for electric vehicles, and also the EV charge solution. So he's pioneering in this area. He has got the whole setup. Uh, but I think his problems, I believe as a professional myself, that his problems are multiplied simply because, uh, even the government has announced certain curbs on applications from China, but still a lot of stuff is available. In Satya's space, there is a competition. So while he has got a situation where there are not enough skills people available, at the same time, he has got a competition from China. So I would like to know his opinion. What his suggestion to the government of India would be.
Yes, okay. Now, actually, my suggestion not only to government, actually, my suggestion I wanted to bring forward to parents. That means actually, society and educational institutions, wherein actually, they are. You see, the candidates, students, they are more with the college or university. Almost 70 to 80% of their life they spend with the college or a school or something, and they spend some little time with the parent, because when they come back to house, actually they'll spend some time with the parent. When it comes to candidate, actually, so they need to motivate in a certain level. Actually, everybody needs to take their time. It's a parent or the teacher who is leading the class, or the university, whoever is taking that take lead. So, and at the same time, government. Now, first comes to actually parent. Parents required to motivate them to go in certain direction. Then after that, actually, they need to take a suggestion from class teacher or whoever is leading the. And the third one needs to take care by government. Now, when it comes to, say, for example, if the parent, taking them to some direction, wherein actually teacher or lecturer, professor will take care of them to, grow them in that particular area, and government requires to provide some sort of infrastructure. So, with the combination of the three, like we can get a good skilled people in India. So this is what my brief suggestion to everybody to fill the gap in the skill sets. So actually, first required, as Kanchan said, like the student or the candidate required to motivate them in what direction they wanted to go. So nowadays, actually, they can go in any direction, and they can and they can get the job. No, there is no limitation. So there is no limitation for the skills. There is no limitation for the opportunities. So just motivate them what direction they can go on to take the opportunity. So that's what we require to send the message to society as well as the colleges and government. That's what my opinion on this skill gap.
Excellent, Satya. So I think let us ask the last opinion from Neville, because Neville is a very senior person recognized in the industry, is also well known globally in the change management arena. So Neville, I think we will leave the stage to you for making the last comments.
Thanks, CK. I'm not too sure about the prominence of my experience here, but however, Satya mentions motivation. And he mentioned it so many times, you would think that we all know how to motivate people, because he says it with a passion. And the reality of life is we do not know how to motivate people. Parents don't know how to motivate themselves, let alone motivate their children. And this is where we start with a problem. And it was the reason that I started Your Passport to Grow, because there's a massive gap in the marketplace. It's not that education doesn't value these soft skills. They do value them. They believe that it is a byproduct of being in school. So just like you would do in a network, everyone gets together and they start communicating and things happen. Well, the school has that same type of theory. It is a theory, because for some people, that's all you need. As I said, walk into a school and look at 6, 7, 8-year-olds and go in and ask for a volunteer. You won't get many. And that's the issue. If you don't get many at that time, as they go further and further in their life, the numbers reduce. They don't increase, they reduce. So the satyrs of this world, the real go-getters, the entrepreneurs, the ones that are basically saying, I'm an engineer, I've got an idea, I'm going to go and make it happen, is diminishing just because of actually the education system. It's not a fault of the education system, it just happens because that's what happens. So as I say, education values these, but they don't know how to deliver it. And we don't deliver soft skills, we don't get better at soft skills in an hour's discussion, you know, once or twice a term or twice a year in your discussion groups at school. You do not learn to be a good communicator in a couple of hours. It takes a lot of practice, as we've seen with people expressing their views on here. You know, the more practice you do, the better you get at it. But who knows what's the right practice? And the thing is, a lot of these knowledge transfer, which education is, it's a knowledge transfer. There's a bit of knowledge going in, the learning happens, you do your homework, you get a result, you do your exam, and you find out how good you are. That's knowledge transfer. They call that the Kirkpatrick method. But it doesn't actually work in the world of soft skills, because knowledge actually is only gained by doing it. And our problem is we don't know how to do it. And as I'll go back to my example, going into a classroom of 6 or 7-year-olds, the ones that have got really good attitude are the ones that volunteer. That's what we need to be motivating. How do we keep that level of volunteering up all the way through their life? How do we change the ones that are shy or reserved to say, do you know what, if I don't volunteer, I'm not going to learn anything? So it's changing that attitude, really, of fear to excitement. And going back to what Satya said about motivation, the ones that are really motivated are excited. The ones that aren't motivated are fearful. It's as simple as that. And the nice thing about the vocabulary and the English dictionary and the English alphabet is that E comes before F. So get excited and forget about the fear. So stay with E, excited, be excited. And if you can't be excited, find out how to get excited. And this is where I think parents have got a huge job here. From the day we're born, our parents really should be saying, go and explore, go and be excited. And again, letter E, stay on the letter E, forget the F. Stay with the letter E, be excited, go and explore. Go and have fun. That's the only letter F you really should be worried about. It's a really difficult arena, and I'm not belittling it by any stretch of the imaginations, but it's so important that we start to get this better. Some people are getting it right, as we see, otherwise we wouldn't have those volunteers. We wouldn't have the satyrs of this world, the evangelists that are out there. So somewhere along the line, we're getting it right. All we need to do is find out that chemical reaction that's happened and do more of it. Sounds simple, but actually when you start to do it, it really is. So that's why, you know, we created Your Passport to Grow, simply because we take people on that experience that other people don't get. And at the end of the day, what is the bottom line here? And the bottom line is self-leadership. So that's what we're developing in everybody. The ability to be a leader in any circumstance. So that's the big picture, if you like, CK. Been a pleasure to see everyone today, with smiley faces, everyone changing the world. So we need to go and do more of it.
Absolutely. In fact, I like the example that you mentioned about E and F, which is like excitement and fun. I don't know about other things. So, excitement and fun. I think that is a point in our panel discussion today. Let me summarize. I think one of the need of the hour for India specifically is that the government is also already working on changing the education system. I think that will be for good. But I think the universities and education institutes have a huge responsibility to make sure that for next couple of years, next 3 to 5 years, they actually change their attitude towards education. They start looking at what is needed by the industrialists so that the Indian story can propel forward. And I think, as Kanchan mentioned and Farida also, that uh, the summary of the entire discussion today is that the soft skill is no longer a soft skill and it's a hard skill. So I think at that point we can end, and that is the message we want to give to our viewers, that make sure that you have all the soft skill and think it is not a soft skill, it's really required, necessary for you to succeed. So with this, I'd like to thank all the panelists today, Neville, Satya, Farida, and Kanchan, for joining us today. And we will catch up in the next CEO Roundtable again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.